Test 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2. This could be a lot fuller, I think. Shabbat Shalom. Test 1, 2. Good. Testing 1, 2. Great. There we go. We're in a good place there.
Shabbat Shalom. How wonderful this evening is to be gathering under our tent together. And for all of those who are tuning in, gathering in our greater community tent, we say Shabbat Shalom to you as well. This is Shabbat Shuvah, the Sabbath of repentance, sometimes called return, which falls in the midst of the 10 days of awe. But we can't have awe if we don't take the time to experience the wonder in the world. And that is what Shabbat is for, to experience what is miraculous in our lives. So let's take this moment to engage our souls, to listen to the melodies of the universe, to return to the place where God resides in each of us. return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are born and reborn and return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are born and reborn and reborn. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're so glad to have you with us. Today is, as you was mentioned, Shabbat Shuvah, which has many different meanings, but at Temple Israel, the meaning is the Shabbat on which Rabbi Ariana gives her sermon. And Ariana is the rabbi educator at Temple Israel, and we love having her speak, especially on Shabbat Shuvah, because at this time of year, none of the other rabbis really want to give a sermon again. So it really works out perfectly for us, and perfectly because she is a wonderful teacher, truly a teacher of teachers. And so we're going to ask her to kindle the Shabbat lights.
It's a treat for me when I get to come also, because I get to hear all my favorite high holiday melodies in addition to giving the sermon. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And if you don't know the young woman whose beautiful voice you just heard, Emma Trevax is our cantorial soloist and also a favorite daughter of Temple Israel, and a new member of the bar. Did that come through yet?
We haven't heard the results yet.
Oh, she's going to
2 more
pass with
weeks to
flying
go.
colors, I promise. And then we don't really talk about him enough. But Sean is over there playing and he has so many accomplishments to his name. He's a composer. Much of the music we play here, he has written. He's a marvelous musician, sings opera, but most importantly, he's just back from his very important engagement playing at Ariella Yedwab's wedding. That really is probably the top of his professional career, and which is also a good segue into the Lecha Dodi as we welcome a bride that we all share, the Shabbos bride. בשלום עטרת נעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי,
לך דודי,
כלכלה,
לקראת כלה,
שבת,
פני שבת,
קבלה.
לקבלה.
לך דודי,
לך דודי,
כלכלה,
לקראת כלה,
שבת,
פני שבת,
קבלה.
לקבלה.
דודי,
לך דודי,
כלכלה,
לקראת כלה,
שבת,
פני שבת,
קבלה.
לקבלה.
דודי,
לך דודי,
כלכלה,
לקראת כלה,
שבת,
פני שבת,
קבלה.
לקבלה.
דודי,
לך דודי,
דודי,
לך דודי,
דודי,
לך דודי.
So I have to ask this question. Of those of you who watched our Rosh Hashanah services online, tell the truth, how many of you actually stood up when we said to rise for the call to worship? Oh, you are good Jews, I have to say. This is real. So as we've just asked you to be seated, please rise for the call to worship. I must say, I love this tent. I want to live in this tent. And the wedding that I spoke about was just magnificent because we could socially distance and dance the hora, and it was unbelievable. But the truth is that we built this really so that when there's a bar mitzvah or a service or a wedding, that if it rains, you can go ahead with the simcha, with the occasion. And we've had it up now for, 2 months or so. I don't think we've needed it for rain one single time. But I still love this tent because there's something about praying here with this backdrop of this magnificent willow tree that really does somehow help me to hear, God's voice around me. And I hope that's the way it is for all of you as we sing together our song of listening and hearing.
if you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all your might. Write them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night.
quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way and listen, listen to our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen, listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod, Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam. Listen, listen to our God. Listen, listen to our God.
Continue with the chanting of Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי ויתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
So we're about to sing the words of Mi Chamocha, and when we sing this prayer, we think about miracles and redemption, since this was the prayer that the Israelites sang when they made their way from slavery to freedom. And I have been spending every weekday morning for the last 3 weeks outside our school entrance, greeting our nursery school students, welcoming them from their car, watching as they race into the building, into the arms of their teachers. In the case of my daughter this morning, watching as she waited for her classmate and walked hand in hand into this building. And I have to tell you, there is nothing more miraculous. There is nothing more redemptive than seeing these little moments. So as we sing this prayer tonight, I encourage you to think about those little moments, those special redemptive miracles that we experience in our everyday lives.
Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, okei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze'elianu ve'amru, ze'elianu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. You sound beautiful. Ay ay la 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 ay la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. ונאמר כי פד אדוני את יעקב וגהלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We sing together now the words of Vishamru, celebrating our Sabbath, our day of rest.
Shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat v'shameru לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת ושמרו לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Rise for the Avot. Adonai, Sefatai tiftachu fi yagid tehillatcha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Hasei Avot V'himaot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. As you're seated, we pray silently.
I mentioned that this tent has allowed us to have bar and bat mitzvahs once again, and we've had to change the service really substantially because the rabbi can't be near the bar bat mitzvah, and we were worried about it, but actually the service has become even better because the bar bat mitzvah takes more upon him or herself, including the introduction to the Misha Beirach healing prayer, which we never thought 13-year-olds would be mature enough to handle. But now they do, and they get up and they say something to this effect. I know that my bar mitzvah is happening in extraordinary times, and that there are members of my family who cannot be here because of it. Some are facing illness, and yet they're really here with us when we say this prayer. Now, it's not my bar mitzvah, although I do think it's almost the 50th anniversary of my bar mitzvah, so I recognize that there would normally on a Friday night at this time of year, be 1,000 people here, and they can't be here with us, but you're there, and that we recognize that some of you are also facing illness. And just like our bar and bat mitzvah celebrants, I want to share with you that we are praying for your health and for your healing and for your recovery.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Now, as you know, before the wedding ceremony, there is a ceremony beforehand, a little tekes, as we say in Hebrew, called bedekin, which is when the groom veils the bride. Now, at Temple Israel, for Ufruf, wedding blessings, we have a new tekes, a new ceremony called unbedekin, where the bride and groom take off their masks. So I'm going to ask Lexi Rottermer and Ryan Feldman to unbedeck yourselves and to rise as we bless you.
Bruchim habayim mi beit Adonai, berachnuchem mi beit Adonai.
Lexi and Ryan, may the one who blessed our ancestors bless you as you prepare to enter into the covenant of marriage. Sanctify their love, O God, and help them to create a home built upon the values of our Jewish tradition, of faith, of learning, of community. May their chuppah, their wedding canopy, be transformed into a bait, a home of openness, of hospitality, a home filled with love and happiness, laughter and joy, a home based in trust and respect. May you always be with them, O God, guiding them, supporting them, encouraging them in all of life's experiences, and may you grant them your most precious gift of shalom, of peace. And let us all say, Amen. Mazel tov. Simin tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, and simin tov, a mazel tov, a mazel tov, and simin tov, a mazel tov, and simin tov, yehelanu. Simin tov, a mazel tov, and simin tov, a mazel tov, and simin tov, a mazel tov, and simin tov,
I love stories, hearing them, telling them, reading them. And over the last 6 months, as your Temple Israel staff and clergy have experimented with virtual programming, I have often found myself telling stories virtually. This week, especially as I've been offering high holiday-related stories on Facebook Live each morning, I'm definitely in a storytelling mood. So I thought tonight I'd share one with you. In the town of Chelm, a magical, mythical place where the people are very pious but not necessarily very smart, 2 citizens were engaged in an argument about how people grow. One gentleman was convinced that people grow from the ground up. The other was just as sure that they grow from the head down. Each gentleman was able to cite evidence to support his opinion. The gentleman who believed that people grow from the ground up said, just look at the army as it marches by and you'll see that I'm right. None of the soldiers' heads is at the same level, but all of them have feet on the ground. This is proof that people grow from the ground up. The other gentleman argued that if you look at members of the marching band as they pass by, you'll see that the pants of their uniforms don't all reach their shoes. Some of the pants are a little too long, some are a little too short. That, he argued, surely indicates that people grow from the head down. Since the two gentlemen couldn't resolve their disagreement, they went to see the rabbi, each explaining his belief about how human beings grow. The rabbi listened to them both and said, gentlemen, it's not that humans grow from the top down or from the bottom up. It's true only that they grow from the inside out. What we are like on the inside can affect what we are like on the outside. When we grow to be kind, caring people, that thoughtfulness will be evident on the outside through our acts of loving kindness. Over these past 6 months, we have all grown up, down, inside, and out. When our early childhood center reopened a few weeks ago, it was shocking to see how much taller and older our youngest students had gotten. And earlier this week, when we were learning with our high school students, I was beyond impressed by their increased maturity and their insights about the world. This was certainly not how any of us envisioned 2020 going. But we all have changed, hopefully growing in some way as we have faced national and global crisis after crisis. We've grown both more patient and less tolerant, more compassionate and less understanding. We've been united as a community and divided, sure in our decisions and uncertain. We've run the gamut of emotions, opinions, and conclusions as we face these tumultuous months. We've turned to the news media and social media, to our friends, to our family, to our community, to our temple, and perhaps to our Jewish literature for guidance. This Shabbat, we turn to our Torah as we near the very end of this sacred book. We've been reading the story of the Israelites, how they've grown and changed in freedom, forming a community and learning what it means to be a people as they wandered in the desert for 40 years. Now, as they stand on the brink of the promised land, they face entering without their beloved leader, Moses. In this week's Torah portion, God speaks to Moses saying, "Go up this mountain, for you will see the land only from a distance. You will not enter the land I'm giving to the people of Israel." And with these words, the life of a Jewish hero, a leader, and a liberator draws to a close. Moses was an unparalleled leader who turned a contentious group of individuals into a nation. He was an extraordinary human being, one who worked abidingly until his very end. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks beautifully describes the power of Moses' leadership and notes a verse from Deuteronomy that states that Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were undimmed, his strength unabated. Rabbi Sacks explains that he used to think those were two sequential phrases until he realized the first was an explanation for the second. Why, he asked, was Moses' strength unabated? Because his eyes were undimmed, because he never lost the ideals of his youth. Though he sometimes lost faith in himself and his ability to lead, he never lost faith in the cause. His words at the end of his life were as impassioned as they had been at the beginning. I read this description of Moses as I watched another incredible leader eulogized and honored. Just a couple of days ago, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's coffin was carried past 100 of her former clerks, standing solemnly, paying tribute to her as 3 days of ceremonial mourning began. Her rabbi, Rabbi Lauren Holtzblatt, described her as a prophet, saying it is the rare prophet who not only imagines a new world, but also makes that world a reality in her lifetime. She was a pioneer, a trailblazer, a pursuer of justice, and an extraordinary human being. one who worked unfailingly until her very end. Though Justice Ginsburg suffered from various health issues over the last number of years, her belief in humankind was undiminished. In various articles written about her this week, RBG was described as doing difficult, admirable work for as long as her body would allow. She was once asked how she'd like to be remembered. Her answer, as someone who helped society beyond her own self-interest, who did things outside herself. Like Moses, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was impassioned until the very end of life, believing that each person can make a difference in this world and that it's never too late to grow, to improve, to change. And one final teaching tonight, we learn from Rabbi Laura Geller that the Hebrew word shana shares the same root as the Hebrew word for change. So that when we say Shana Tova, we're not only wishing each other a good year, but also a good change. What an appropriate teaching and greeting for this difficult year. May it be a good change from the year we have had, a good change as we grow from top to bottom or bottom to top, but definitely from the inside out. May this year bring good change to our world. May it inspire us to become impassioned, extraordinary human beings. And may it bring good change to us, bringing with it a year full of promise, health, happiness, and hope. L'shana Tova.
Create a pure heart within me, and let my soul wake up in your light. Open me to your presence, flood me with your Holy Spirit, and I will stand and sing out the power of your forgiveness. And I will teach your love to the lonely, and the lost will find their way home. Adonai, open up my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. Adonai, open up my lips, and my mouth will declare your praise. Ooh, ooh,
That was beautiful. I don't think I've heard that one before. Is that new?
But new. I think it's going to be our new duet.
I think so too.
I'm loving it. If you don't mind, as we conclude or about to conclude, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege. Wendy and I feel very blessed because a few months ago, our sister-in-law, my sister-in-law, Amy, Wendy's sister, who lives in New York, decided to come to Michigan to quarantine with my mother-in-law, Sally. And it's really been just fun to watch. They are so cute together. If you ever wanted to meet Laverne and Shirley, just go up and introduce yourselves later. And so really to honor, the the loving sacrifice that Amy's made and the joy that it has brought to Sally, I'd like to ask them to also unbedeck yourselves and to come up for the honor of opening the ark as we rise for the adoration.
שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
This is the time of the service where we usually invite you to the Oneg Shabbat, but no cookies for you. We're getting you ready for your fast. But hopefully you can taste the sweetness of the Shabbat together, though, nonetheless. It is also at this time of the service that we remember those who have brought meaning into our lives, but whom we have loved and lost. Especially those who have died but recently during the past 30 days of Shloshim. Sidney Abels, Richard Barnett, Dr. Richard Bluford, Calvin Blum, Judith Boeski, Susan Bolton, Joel Browdy, Margie Charnes, Gloria Collin, Lisa Kraft Dorff, Susan Dubin, Lois Eckelman, Marilyn Fromer, Marlene Gross, Vera Israel, David Kane, Sally Kane, Jack Kyle, Evelyn Keeps, Seymour Kleiman, Sandra Landsman, Agnes Lugosi, Leonard Mizell, Eileen Passman, Barbara Pearl, Donald Ritten, Dr. Martin Rosenbaum, Shel Shine, Alan Schwab, Shirley Silber, David Silverstein, Sylvia Smaltz, Phyllis Stone, Marty Weiner, and Shelley Weingarten. We recall, too, those whose yahrzeits fall at this time: Robert Alper, Harry Bell, Chuck Berman, Albert Blaze, Don Brady, Gene Brenner, Arthur D. Brown, Sidney Brown, Dr. Irwin K. Carson, Edward Chernilla, Hilda Citron, Morris Cole, Harry Collins, Tom Crotty, Lorraine Barron Fenster, Irene Kemper Fox, Sarah Frank, Zelda Friedman, Harriet Froelich, Felice Gerber, Samuel Glickman, Erwin Hollander, Sarah Holtzman, Seal Jonas, Goldie Alice Kaplan, Sheldon Kay, Arthur Keeps, Benjamin Kurt, Norman Kerman, Margot Klein, Patty Klein, Sarah Laker, Firma Langerman, Rose Lash, Andrew Leibowitz, Morris Lulkin, Julius Mizell, Frederick Marty Miller, Irving Moroff, David Moss, Frida Murav, Gary Mutnick, Ruth Nagelbush, Daniel Oppenheim, Jim Polk, Jacob Resnick, Carol Ressler, Jeffrey David Roshan, Yetta Rosen, Leonard Ruff, Carol Rubiner, Ray Saltzman, Rose Soretsky, Carl Shea, Sidney L. Shane, Robert Skall, Etta Solomon, Reuben Sonny, Rose Sorkin, Martin Sosnick, Maka Soibel, Nathan Stolman, Eva Weiner, Shirley Weiner, Hattie Wander, Shari Yarsik, and Helen K. Zimmerman. May their souls and the souls of all of our beloved departed be bound up in the bond of everlasting life as we now rise to remember them. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich machute, v'chayichon v'yomechon v'chayet t'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala u'vizman kariv v'yimiru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us, and let us say,
we wish for everyone an easy fast, a Gemar Tov, and that our prayers for peace ascend on high as we conclude with Od Yavo Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam. Shabbat Shalom.